What's going on, everybody? It is CGA back in here on the Notorious CGA channel. Thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to dive deep into what I call the blue chip mindset, something that I've been talking about and developing since the 2020s and actually introduced on my Free Agent Lifestyle channel in 2021. I've been starting doing streams on this, and we have a great group of people who are excited about the blue chip mindset. Now, this is just a mindset shift that comes from something that has been already discussed in the lexicon, which is blue chippers. At the end of this, there's going to be some hurt feelings. There's going to be definitely some tough talk, and there is going to be some tough love. Unfortunately, I can only do it a certain way. Now, if you end up disagreeing with something that you hear, please understand that I don't care. All right. I already know what works for me, and I do know what works for a lot of other people, and a lot of common thinking simply doesn't work for people. Now, let's talk about this. What a blue chipper is. The blue chip mindset, a blue chipper, think of your top recruits in athletics for high school going into college. A lot of these people are called the blue chippers, all right, because they're 4-star, 5-star recruits who are going to make a difference in your program. Same thing as people who come from a pedigree where their kids go to the Ivy Leagues. The top tier people, when they enter into the workforce, human resource directors and headhunters call these the blue chippers, because not only do they have high expectations and priorities, they also know and come from high backgrounds. All right. They come from 2-parent households typically, or non-destructive households. They come from stable backgrounds and so forth. And so these people are known as the blue chippers. All right. The blue chip also represents the highest value chip in traditional 3-card poker. All right. So those were the typical higher chips. Now, of course, in a lot of high stakes gambling, there's higher chips than the traditional blue chips. But in the 3-color game, the blue chip represented the highest value. Now, let's talk about this. A lot of people think that if they got money or they earned a couple of dollars, that it will solve their problems. And it might. A lot of people are $10,000 away from their life completely changing, or at least changing over the next 6 months. And I want all of you guys to understand that $10,000 is holding you back. All right. It is definitely holding you back. Now, if you got that $10,000, how would your life change? All right. You would pay some bills. You would do some things like that. You might even create more problems for yourself with that 10K, but you certainly would be happy over the next few weeks with that $10,000. But the problem is you haven't changed your mindset. So instead of paying down the debt that is bothering you and burdening you, you might even put off the debt or even pay just a third of it in order to get the things that you really want. And then you still have the same problem. See, the money wasn't the problem. It was your priorities and how you prioritize time. See, time is of the essence. Time is money. And sometimes you can pay a little bit more money to save a lot more time. Sometimes you cannot save time and money at the same time. Now, I know there's some outlier things. There's some things that you might be able to prove me wrong, but the general statement holds true. You cannot save time and money at the same time. Let's dive deeper into the time issue. All right. So the common mentality for most people is to trade time for money. That is the simple background basis of any type of money earning. You basically take your time and you trade it in for money. Now, this isn't an epiphany. This is somewhat standard conversation that everybody and their mama knows. Listen, I'm not going to give you something that everybody knows, but trading time for money is the most common way for people to earn money. Now, some people earn money in different ways, and I have videos about this: compound, residual, and or passive income. That is a way for other people to earn money, and they make the best use of their time by investing money. There's also people who make money by producing something. So you produce something of value and you duplicate it in order to make money off of it. So you might produce it once and get a residual, or you might produce something that becomes a process that you can sell, and then people can use that process to be able to earn more money. They might pay you for that. There's some people that get paid based on projects that they do. All right. They don't get paid in the amount of time the project it takes to complete it. They get paid on the project completion, and thus they get paid for the project. See, these are different ways for people to earn money. However, it does require a great risk, and it does require you to invest a lot of time. For instance, you can invest 10,000 hours in a project and get paid for it a certain rate. Some people will avoid that project and say, nah, it's going to take too much time. I need to make money, so I'm going to trade time for money. You see what I mean? They use the time in order to disqualify them from earning long-term the money. Of course, when you trade time for money, they're only going to consider that little bit of time you spent in that week, and thus that's what they're going to reward you on. Of course, there's the problem with this. How can you get to a position of where you pay to be a producer if you need time and money today? You need money today. So the best thing you could do is trade time. Well, that lies the problem. That's how people end up in the trap. That's how you end up in the rat race, in a need position. All right. So this is a way complicated topic. It is very layered, and this is why it's going to take me several videos for people to get it. All right. Not only that, there's a forthcoming book that is going to make people get it, and it's going to be ordered. All right. The videos are going to be out of order and chaotic. I understand. And not only that, you might watch them out of order, right? You're going to watch them out of order and they might not make sense. So the pieces will get put together. However, let's talk about this. Consumer versus producer. Okay. Consumer versus producer. Now, you're a person that trades time for money. And not only that, when you get your money, you tend to do what? Not produce anything with it. You tend to consume with it. And there's two different mindsets. Are you a consumer or are you a producer? Producers tend to take more advantage of their time. They tend to look at time in the essence of, I need to organize this. I need to prioritize this. I need to highly schedule it. I need to make sure I'm not using time or wasting time. I need to make sure I'm not frivolous with my time. I need to make sure that I'm not spending time with people that are going to prevent me from producing. You see that mindset? That's a mindset switch. Some people who are consumers, they take the majority of the time and money that they've traded for with time, and they spend it with people that don't produce anything, that are going to prevent them from producing anything. Not only that, that are not going to invest in anything they produce. Not only that, you're spending your money with the time that you exchange to impress people who are just going to be consumers. You see the mind switch? You see that? That's the blue chip mindset, right? That's us understanding the importance of time. Some people will say, I'll stop and smell the roses. And then 15 years later, you wonder, they stopped and smelled way too many roses, right? They could have used their time wisely, but they didn't see the importance of it. They might have said, well, listen, as long as you have people to love, well, that's a consumer mindset because they're using other people to get something from. They're consuming other people. Now, I know the emotional conversation is a conversation that can be had over and over again, but we want people to understand that being productive is the most important thing that you got going on here. And wasting time makes no sense. And it definitely doesn't make dollars. Now, let's talk about this. People who get money in weird ways, they try to flip it or they try to use the system to get money from some people. Have you noticed when they did that, they never got ahead? Now, they got ahead in the way they got ahead with, right? They might have said, hey, I'm able to pay some bills. I'm able to finesse the system for this. I'm able to use the system for that. But have you ever noticed they're kind of in the same spot? They're kind of like ghetto fabulous, or they kind of like rich for their area, but they not really, really rich. Have you noticed that much of the stuff that they do is in a consumer? They consume. They never produce anything. And thus, when you don't produce anything, you never find yourself in a blue chip mindset, in a higher value position. Thus, the thing that they got was the money, but it didn't solve the greater problem. And if you multiply that over time, compound that, you find that over week after week, day after day, year after year, they're still in the same position or even worse. See, when it comes to money, I have a definition here, money karma. Treat money the way you want money to treat you. In fact, these people, these consumers are treating money in a negative way. And thus over time, they compound that and they never get what they want. They never treat money the way they want money to treat them. And this is almost 85% of people in America, maybe around the world. They never look at that. Or they'll make an excuse and say, well, money is the root of all evil, right? And that's because they're consumers. They look at money in a consumer way, not a producer. But here's the deal. If a person gets money this way, if they didn't produce the money or they didn't produce something to generate the income, guess what they do? They'll end up just consuming all gains. So they got child support from a guy, but they never got ahead. Or they might say, well, it's just $300, $400, and $500 of child support. Well, you can turn $500 into a hell of a come up, but you didn't, you consumed it. And thus, since you didn't produce it and you got it off someone else, that money ended up being consumed and it never made a difference to you. That's the mindset that we're talking about here. Now, listen, we haven't even gotten to the tough love. We haven't even gotten to the tough talk and the name calling because that's coming down the line. But what I want you to do is to contribute to this show by hitting the like button. That's the first thing you need to do because you're going to find value here. And the one thing you're going to say to me is you're going to say, why should we listen to you? All right, you ain't nobody. Well, I ain't nobody as far as you're concerned. But those who will take this message, you'll take it to heart and you'll apply it and you'll find that you made the difference. And I'm only looking for 1%. 1% of the people who watch this video to be able to take this information from me and be able to apply it to their lives and make a difference to their lives. All right. If you're 85% of the deaf, dumb, and blind and you're just a follower, well, keep living the life that you're living today. Doesn't make me any difference, but I do want you to hit the like button, and or if you disagree or agree, get in the comment section and share your experiences with anything that I taught today. And also, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel, man. We're going to get more people on this, and there's going to be some live streams in the future. And this is going to be a part of my 4th book, which I cannot tell you the title because oddly enough, the blue chip mindset is a universally known concept. In fact, since I've been teaching it, people have been using it and adopting it, creating Instagram and YouTube channels based on this very concept. So I must be very conscious to protect what I have in terms of the title of the 4th book, but expected in the winter of 2023. With that being said, we out of here. Peace.